Action.
Hello, I'm Will, and this is 9th grade English Crash Course. And this episode is about Romeo and Juliet. The tragedy of Romeo and Juliet is widely considered the best love story of all time, and is also written by the most famous playwright of all time, William Shakespeare. It tells the tale of two star-crossed lovers from opposing families that fight to be together, despite their parents and society seeming to be against them. The scene is set in Verona, Italy, when Romeo meets Juliet at a party where he was trying to get over another girl who he thought he was hopelessly in love with. I guess you could say that was a success. Then the two of them get married, but Romeo gets banished from Verona because he killed Juliet's cousin Tybalt. So then Juliet's parents try to arrange her to marry Paris, which eventually results in everyone getting very mad at each other, and Romeo thinks Juliet's dead, so he kills himself, and then a lot of people are sad, and by the end 7 people are dead, including Juliet. But what makes the story so fascinating is frankly how vague the story is, whose fault it is, and what are we supposed to get out of the story? Well, those are the questions we will answer on today's Crash Course.
Though the tragedy of Romeo and Juliet seems simple, trying to explain whose fault the whole thing is complicated and really has no one right answer. Likely the easiest people to blame are Romeo and Juliet's parents. It seems as though they killed themselves because of the grudge the parents hold against each other's families. But in reality, the parents never actually did anything uncommon to that time period. Sure, they stopped their children from living their lives with their true loves, but actually, arranged marriages were common at the time. Plus, when the Capulets arranged the marriage between Juliet and Paris, they didn't actually know that she was married to Romeo. I have to think if they had known, they probably would have dealt with that problem before trying to marry her to another guy. This leads me to the next people I have to try to blame, Romeo and Juliet. Frequently over the course of the tragedy, Romeo and Juliet do something stupid, possibly to try to be with their true love, but nevertheless hurt their chances at being with one another. For example, when Romeo succeeded at killing Tybalt, he did defend Mercutio's honor, but he also strengthened the feud between the two families and also got himself banished from Verona. When Juliet refused to tell her parents why she didn't want to marry Paris, she did temporarily avoid marrying him, but really she just made her parents more and more skeptical of what was going on. Those are just 2 of the examples of their poor decision making over the course of the play. But really, they were just following Friar Lawrence's plan to get them together the whole time, weren't they? So what the heck, why isn't he to blame? Friar Lawrence, the puppet master of the whole play, must bear at least some of the blame, don't you think? First, he married Romeo and Juliet and told them what to do to be together, while also leading on their parents to think everything was okay. Also, we blame him just because his next plan to get them together eventually became faking Juliet's death, which eventually fooled Romeo into killing himself. He was also the one who agreed to marry Juliet in Paris, even though he knew Juliet was married to Romeo. But in reality, nothing he did was really that ridiculous, nor did he ever intend to hurt anyone. In theory, his plan could have worked if Friar John had been able to deliver the message to Romeo. So what does all this mean? Can we not blame anyone for the death of 7 people? I guess not. I guess no one did anything that was directly responsible for the tragedy. So then I guess all we can blame is Romeo's favorite fate, the sail that stareth my course.
The theme of Romeo and Juliet can be viewed in many different ways, but the main theme of this play is love can play a big role in someone's decision-making. The idea is constantly shown throughout the play by Romeo making quick and rash decisions. The one terrible decision that started this whole tragedy is when Romeo comes to the Capulet house in the middle of the night and professes his love for Juliet no matter the danger of him being there. Then, the following day, after knowing Juliet for only hours, he claims that they should be married. Then Romeo ruined Friar Lawrence's plan to end the feud between the Montagues and the Capulets by fighting and eventually killing Tybalt. This lit a fire under the feud and made each side of this fight hate each other even more. Following this, Romeo is banished to Mantua, which caused communication to become harder between him, Juliet, and the friar. Romeo almost makes another blind decision when he chooses to attempt to kill himself because of the banishment from Verona. Luckily, Friar Lawrence stops him before he can complete his action. Romeo makes another impulsive choice. After seeing Juliet dead in the tomb, he immediately makes the decision to go to the apothecary and find the herbs that would end up killing him. This then leads to Juliet's death. Juliet also plays a role in showing Shakespeare's theme through her decision-making during the play. Juliet makes many of her poor decisions along with Romeo just by agreeing with him or following his lead. Juliet even recognizes her impulsiveness when she realizes her love for Juliet is too rash, too unadvised, too sudden. Even knowing this about their relationship, Juliet still goes along with Romeo and agrees to marry him just hours after meeting. All of Romeo and Juliet's decisions show his impulsiveness in decision-making because of their love for one another. Shakespeare uses this theme to show that people are not always themselves when they are in love with someone else, and love can really change who you are.
Go. Today in 9th grade Crash Course, we have learned about the theme of Romeo and Juliet and also who really caused the whole tragedy. This play could not really be blamed on anyone in particular because everyone had a part in causing the 7 deaths, but now we know who the main culprits were. The theme of this play could be many ideas, but today we learned the main one is that love can change the decisions of people. Thanks for joining us on 9th grade Crash Course. See you next time.